This is a brand new Drill Master sander. Costs $10. It should be a 4th sheet. So it has an orbital sander. This is obviously fresh out of the box. So there is the sander. And here's the attachment for dust control. It has a mating sleeve, I guess, in case your vacuum is a different size. I don't know. Shop Vac has a 2.5-inch hose, but I bought an adapter that will let it run a 1.5-inch hose. So I'll go ahead and try that. It's a pretty basic sander. Sandpaper also comes from Harbor Freight. You get this pack of it, 20 or 30 sheets, different grits, and it's emery paper. I think it costs about $3 or $4. But I simply cut it up into quarter sheets. So to put a sheet of paper on it, it has these clips that hold down the sheet. So just put the sheet of paper there, hook this in. I have a Craftsman sander from 20 years ago. This is a pretty close copy. You might call it an updated copy, but it's still a copy. Okay, so I put too much on one side. I want to put enough in there, just enough to catch it. So this says it's a quarter sheet, but actually needs a little bit more than a quarter sheet to go on correctly. Trying to get it centered so it covers the pad and still fits in. Kind of pre-bending this sheet. See if I can get it to wrap around enough. There has to be a better way to do this. Okay, so there it is. Got a nice long cord on it. Use this to get the surface rust off and see what we can do from there. I'm going to use 2 approaches to dust collection. I'm going to use this dust collection hooked to the shop vac, but I'm also going to wear a respirator because I do not want this in my lungs. Giving a clue that I shop too much at Harbor Freight, I'm using a Drill Master quarter sheet sander. I have my Harbor Freight respirator, and I'm using Harbor Freight emery paper. So I want to put this in. Quarter sheet will barely fit in here, and I don't necessarily blame the Drill Master for this because the Craftsman had the exact same problem. Just have to get used to barely attaching both ends. You kind of pre-crimp or pre-fold the edges. Seems to help some. finished sanding on the table saw. Sanded it off, cleaned it up, waxed it. Looks good. So I used this probably for about 2 hours sanding on this. These retainer clips sometimes come off, and the pad is just a tiny bit too big, in my opinion. If it was just a millimeter or two smaller, it would be easier to put sandpaper on. But very pleased with the way it worked. Cost $10. When the sandpaper broke through and tore, I didn't notice it, so it ate up the pad just a little bit. I can't fault the sander for that, but I have a feeling that before too long that pad's going to wear out and I'll have to replace it. This is a $10 sander, so by the time the pad wears out, almost certainly I've gotten my money's worth out of it. You can see the indentations in the pad where when the sandpaper broke through and I didn't notice it, it ate the pad a little bit. So that'll have to be replaced at some point. But $10 for the sander, well worth the money. To be honest with you, worth a little bit more because it's going to last. If it took 2 hours of continuous sanding today, it'll be fine. So final recommendation, good deal for $10. I highly recommend it. If you like these reviews, please like the video, subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.